Well, we'll now return to that top story that we gave to you earlier about Kwasi Kwarteng, the UK Chancellor. He returned to London, of course, to meet with Prime Minister Liz Truss, called back early from a meeting in Washington to hold these apparent emergency talks within Downing Street. We thought earlier that he might be being sacked there, and there's now confirmation that Kwasi Kwarteng has been sacked as Chancellor. Well, we can go back to our London correspondent, Alex Isaac now. She joins us. Alex, what are you hearing?
Yes, we've heard from a number of sources that it has been confirmed that the Chancellor has been sacked from his position. And this is all on the back of the fact that he lost all that confidence in the market, the pound fell, and then these two humiliating U-turns. The fact that Liz Truss has used him as a scapegoat is quite interesting. The fact that obviously a lot of these ideas were hers to move forward. So blaming one person is quite an interesting step for her. But what may be the one thing that could help her is if she does actually completely change her ministers and to work with the Treasury, because it is that market credibility that she really needs, and she needs people to trust her and to move forward. So it looks like one of her statements that she will be making in an hour or so will be to announce that potentially a new minister, or at least a lot of changes happening to her policies.
A lot of what Liz Truss fought her leadership campaign on was this idea of being a low tax economy in the United Kingdom. She made those promises to those voters. Now it appears, after this U-turn, of course, of that 45p tax on high income earners, that being reversed and that being put back into place, basically. There's now these questions over corporation tax, whether that might rise as well. Does that leave Liz Truss in a bit of a sticky situation when it comes to the people that voted her into number 10, if she has to go back on those promises that she made to Conservative Party members?
Well, absolutely. But don't forget the one she was doing the hustings. She didn't actually make any specific promises. She was extremely vague, both her and Rishi Sunak. Let's get them both involved there. So when she was talking about what she wanted to do and the growth and policies, even when we had the mini budget that the Chancellor did put forward, some of the ideology there was potential for this growth, as great long-term aspects, but there wasn't anything actually set in stone. We were still waiting for the medium-term fiscal policies that were going to be announced in October. So there are a lot of things that people weren't quite sure about, how much money that was going to be spent, where is that money coming from. She was talking about the growth of the country, about changing all of the taxes, national insurance, corporation tax, and those things were after she had already been voted in. So it's very much a turmoil within the own party to know that they actually didn't want some of these changes. And clearly some of them didn't, because they have been outspoken on various channels talking about that they didn't expect this to happen. But there is one thing that is going to be clear, that this announcement is going to really shake up all of the policies that she's already set out, and she will need to make a stand in exactly what she's going to be doing from here on out.
It has been such a turbulent time for the Conservative Party, for UK politics over the last few months and years, in fact. Surely this rejuggling, the shifting of people in that cabinet is not a great message to be sending out to the British public, also to the world. But I guess this is Liz Truss, as you say, making a stand, trying to assert her authority over the party and give this impression that she is in control there. Do you think we could see more shuffles on the way, or will she be hoping that this move is enough to keep her in number 10?
I do think that we are going to see a lot more shuffling. I think that there may be another announcement coming out later, because there is all of this talk that's going to come forward. We need to know about the OBR that's going to be happening. That was obviously done with the Chancellor. So there will be a whole new reshuffle. I do think that she needs to really show the public and her own party members that she does know what she's doing, and there is meant to be faith and trust there. It could also be a bit too late. We've seen Labour polls go through the roof. A lot of people are backing them. Protests daily within London and surrounding areas. So a lot of the general public really are looking to her and not thinking that she can do a particularly good job. She does have a lot of work to do, and it's only a short amount of time to do it in. She's already only been in charge for a few weeks, really, and all of these changes are happening. She doesn't seem to be able to be stable enough. And right now, the country does need stability. We're seeing a lot of problems that are outside of government, and those need to be changed. And I think everybody seems to be quite a bit fed up that this is constantly ongoing within the party. We want some big changes outside of that. We want to see the cost of living improving, and all of this backfighting and nitpicking really isn't doing the party any good, and actually the UK any good as well, because the whole world is looking and seeing this, and at the moment it does seem to be a bit of a mess.
So Alex, let's just talk about who the potential replacements might be. Of course, Liz Truss went up against Rishi Sunak for that leadership position. He, as you said before, was on a bit of a polar opposite side of the spectrum to Liz Truss when it came to his economic policy. Do we think that he could be in the running? There's also those names, Nadhim Zahawi. He was quite pivotal in the COVID-19 pandemic, overseeing the vaccines programme there. And there's also Sajid Javid, a former chancellor himself. His name's also being bandied around. What do we think about those potential candidates? Who do we think might be the preferred choice for Liz Truss, if any of those indeed do get that job?
Well, I do think Rishi Sunak is definitely up there in the potential. Obviously, during his whole hustings, he went from the four-winner top dog to really second place quite quickly, but there was still quite a lot of backing. And also that even when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, there was already rumours that Rishi was going to be Prime Minister one day, that he was going to take us forward, and his economic changes were going to drive the country. And a lot of the things that he suggested, we talked about the corporation tax that they wanted to reduce. Well, he suggested keeping it same level, and it looks like that's what Liz Truss is going to be doing. So already using some of his policies does make him stand a very good stead for potentially taking over as the Prime Minister. I think Penny Mordaunt also may well be a good forerunner. She has a lot of backing from a lot of the backbenchers on the ground there. So I think those two are really in with the chance if Truss does end up being ousted.
Well, here we go. We've got a busy day then in the United Kingdom. Just to recap that headline, in case you're joining us now, Kwasi Kwarteng, the UK Chancellor, has been sacked by the UK Prime Minister Liz Truss. He was called back from Washington early to meet with her in Downing Street for emergency talks. It now appears that she's taken the decision to get rid of him after some pretty turbulent weeks in London. In terms of the market, she was seeing pressure from her own MPs to try to reverse plans that she had announced for sweeping tax cuts for high-income earners and also for businesses as well. It now looks like they are all going to be reversed. We're expecting a press conference from the Prime Minister in just over an hour's time now for her to set out these changes, and we now understand probably to explain her decision to get rid of the Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng. Now the pressure will be on for her to try to find a replacement for him, to try to reunify her party, and it seems try to boost her ratings when it comes to approvals among the public. There have been some damning results from polls in the last 24 hours saying that both she and her now former Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, were not very popular among the public. So a very busy day in London, a very busy day for the Prime Minister Liz Truss as this continuing shuffle takes place at Downing Street. Well, that's all from me in London for now.